Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Konami, 1990. Like I had mentioned in the Castlevania 2 episode, Konami knew this game was going to be big business and put out another sequel just 2 years later. Fans heavy into the Castlevania series probably know that this game was actually a prequel to the original Castlevania game. The timeline for the Castlevania series starts with Castlevania 3, set in 1476, Castlevania 1, set in 1691, and then Castlevania 2, set in 1698. This was the first time I remember seeing timelines get swapped around like this. I remember it did add a little bit of excitement thinking the events I saw in Castlevania 1 and 2 were actually going to happen after this. In the NES days, sequels were either the next chronological step in the storyline, like Mega Man is a straight through line, or the sequel had nothing to do with the original, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles 2, which was just an attempted port of the arcade, but still not necessarily related to the first one. They weren't really sequels in a timeline sense. Or Mario Brothers, for example, even. The second one didn't really have to be tied to the first one, the third one was really tied to the second one, even if you take into consideration the actual Japanese 2, which was the Lost Levels in America. So in Castlevania 3, your character is Trevor Belmont, sent to find and destroy Dracula. However, later in the game you can pick up additional playable characters, which was another element of gameplay that wasn't too common back in the day. That's not to say it didn't happen at all, it just wasn't that common. You were either player 1 and you were Mario, or you were player 2 and you were Luigi, or you were just that one main character of the game. That was pretty much it. You didn't really get to choose your character a whole lot. Now, like I said, some games you could. In Ninja Turtles you could pick which turtle you wanted to be. In Contra Force you have a choice of a few different characters, but for the most part you were just one or two different preset characters. I want to mention the music here. Castlevania 3, again, has unforgettable music. One piece of trivia about the music, though, is it was changed from the localization from Japan to the United States. And I don't mean the song, the arrangements were changed, I mean the tone of the music is different. The Japanese version has a VR6 co-processing chip that supplied the game with 2 additional sound channels on top of the 5 channels that already existed. The US version did not have this chip, resulting in the music sounding less full and less impressive. The controls and gameplay are relatively unchanged from Castlevania 1 and Castlevania 2. Full walking animation, full whip animation, solid jump arc, it all plays the same. I want to mention a few things that Castlevania 3 went back to that Castlevania 2 did differently from Castlevania 1. Basically, here's some things that Castlevania 1 and 3 did that 2 did not. For example, on a staircase, if you get hit, you don't just fly off wildly like you do in Castlevania 2. You just get hit and keep on going. And like in Castlevania 1, the torches and the sconces are all back to whip mindlessly. The series returns to its side-scrolling action game like the original. The gameplay is mostly linear, but it does let you choose between 2 paths when you come to a crossroads, so it's technically non-linear, but it does keep you going in that one direction through the whole game. So I'll choose the clock tower here, and depending which route you choose, you will navigate through different levels and different parts of the map. Along with choosing your own adventure, you'll be given the opportunity to pick up additional playable characters in Sypha, Grant, and Alucard. Since I chose the clock tower path, I now acquire Grant into my party and see the bridge crumble on the map. Grant is a pirate character that can walk on walls and ceilings, and has the ability to change his direction mid-jump. Everyone else has that solid jump arc though. Sypha is a sorceress with a weak physical attack, but very strong magic spells. And Alucard, Dracula's son. For those of you that don't know, Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards. If you just learned that here from me, I'm sorry. Alucard has the ability to throw fireballs and turn into a bat, which does come in handy later when you get to certain areas you just don't want to go through. You can only have one of these secondary characters at a time. You have to choose which one you want to keep or leave behind when you come to a crossroads. For example, I have Grant here, so if I come up to Sypha, I have to decide if I want to leave Grant behind and continue on with Sypha, or leave Sypha there and continue on with Grant. When you have a secondary character, you don't just pick or choose which one you want to start the level with and be that character. You push select to basically phase yourself out and phase in your secondary character. These characters both share the same life bar as well, so you kind of have a secondary set of abilities and sub-weapons. Depending which secondary character you have at the end of the game, you will get a different ending for each one of those, as well as a different ending if you picked up no secondary characters along the way at all. I do like this game. It's very fun. It's got that gothic horror atmosphere that Castlevania is just great at. It's an excellent example of a great Konami game. They tried a few different things here and got a little ambitious, which is fine. Some of the things feel kinda gimmicky, but it all works out. 8 out of 10.